These are and Naegele's old paychecks, too, right?
Yeah. Well, there wasn't much to them.
All righty, so
oh, I thought this was something else.
You have donated. You have made a donation to our toy drive, and it is
season tickets to 2 seats to the next 2 Syracuse basketball home games,
including
a parking pass at the VA garage,
which is
right across from
worth its weight in gold.
Yeah, especially this time of year. So tomorrow we'll auction those off here. So we appreciate that.
Yep.
Good man.
They're in section 125, row L. So you're in the bleachers on court level.
Nice. Oh, really nice. Okay. So you make a donation. We'll auction it off. Highest bidder will get to take the tickets. Love it.
That's awesome, man. Thank you.
All right, Naegele, what did you bring in here today?
So in honor of my buddy Calvin Brown, who is an avid listener, I hope he's listening right now, I brought in his favorite beer, Caramel Porter.
This is so good.
It is. And, it's a nice, light, easy-drinking porter with just a hint of sweetness. And it's a polarizing beer for people at Saranac. They either love it or they hate it. I used to hate it. It's growing. I've grown an affinity for it.
How do you get there? How do you get to this taste? Do you have to add?
You add real caramel.
You do. Okay,
yeah. That's why a lot of people who work there didn't like it, because when you dump tons of real caramel into a 500-barrel brew house and it's steaming all around, it can kind of become a little bit cloying. You're walking through a donut all day, but it's pretty good.
Yeah,
I would imagine
really,
cleaning
really
the barrel after has got to be difficult too.
I like this a lot.
Yeah, it's a nice taste.
And talk about a porter versus other beers.
That's like one of the classic arguments of craft beer is what's different between a porter and a stout, because they're both ales, they're both light in body, they're both black, so they both have roasted malt to them. The definition that I've been told that I believe the most is that what differentiates a stout from a porter is that a stout has black patent malt. And it's called a black patent malt because there was a patent put on the roasting drum that you use to get that black. So similar to roasting coffee.
Got it.
So they called it black patent malt, and that went into stouts. Porters didn't use that.
Okay, so it's a very an important difference, but a slight difference.
There's a lot of BS in beer too. So
okay, all right. Well, you're good at the BS.
Thank you.
I appreciate that. This is very good, of course. Seasonal.
Yep, seasonal, but available everywhere that you can find Saranac.
This is such a nice holiday beer too.
It is. It's nice. And it's not too sweet, so it's not like a dessert beer.
Right.
It's not too heavy. It's not too filling. It's just an all-around great beer.
BS is a New York hop, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Yes.
Okay. How about the story that came out 2 days ago, yesterday, about the increase in craft beer breweries in New York State? It's unbelievable.
Not even just in New York State, but I mean even nationwide.
Right.
I was just talking with Scott Hayes. He says, "How's the beer business?" I said, "Well, we're selling more beer, but you got to work a lot harder."
You do, because there's so many different varieties.
Exactly.
And,
you can't rest for a moment.
Which means everybody's trying to package things differently to make their unique brand stand out.
Exactly.
I mean, it's when you take a place like right down the street here. We're close. We're in Marcy, so I want to mention. I know you don't want to
Woodland
exclude anybody out, but the Marcy Beverage Center down here.
Oh, I'm sorry.
When you walk through that, the labels. I mean, it's just like a sea of colors and all different types. It didn't used to be that way.
No, that's why when you're buying beer and you're going out to try something new, I always suggest that you go to a better beverage center and just say, hey, I'm looking for this. Let them guide you.
Yeah.
When you walk into a wine store, not a lot of people around here, or I don't think a lot of people anywhere, know half as much about wine as they think they do. They walk in and they go, well, I'm looking for this variety, and it's got a nice label, or I like the name.
Good price range.
Yeah, exactly. And then it's all trial and error to find one that you actually like, and then once you find one you like, you stick with it. Beer has become that now. There's a lot of subtleties and nuances and differences to it, and I always take the advice of others if I haven't tried it. You
got to be careful with the wines. Like my wife, I don't know if she's trying to be funny, but short balding guy. That's the name of a wine, and I get that bottle with a short bald guy on the bottle. I don't want that wine. What is it? What is it with the wines? Everybody's got some crazy, biatch wine or whatever. Everybody's got a list. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It's not even. I mean, those aren't good wines, are they? Thank you for the fat balding guy wine. That's what I want to drink.
It's about every 3 weeks I find a new word you can say on the radio.
A biatch. I think I'm okay with it.
I think it's actually a wine.
Yeah. It is a wine.
It is
a wine.
Yeah, it's got honey in it. Yeah.
A biatch. Yeah.
No kidding.
Well, there you go, Naegele. There's always information we learn from you.
Thank you.
Thanks, man. I don't know if you were watching the Bills game the other day. By the way, speaking of beer, you should stick with us because isn't there a beer
that has been named after him? Yes,
after this guy. His name is Tristan Lambright. He's the guy 2 weeks ago during the Bills game.
Figured you would know because you're talking to me.
That went. Who are we talking to now?
So this is Tristan with his attorney, Julie.
Oh, his attorney is there, too. Julie Rogers is the attorney. So are they both on the same line? Is that what you have for me? Tristan and Julie, good morning, guys.
Good morning.
And Tristan ran out on the field and did a little streaking action at the Bills game a couple weeks ago. And you have become infamous since that day.
You're right.
And am I correct in saying they've actually brewed a beer after you?
Yes, at the Rusty Nickel, a small, I guess it's like a nano brewery, I guess you'd call it, in Buffalo.
And what is unique about this beer, Naegele, which is so explain what they do. This is what would we say?
So the brewery throughout the
season. It's a moving
season.
target. This beer is. It's not. They've named it after you, but they do different
beers
versions
every week of the season.
Each week they do one that's more bitter. Explain the whole thing, can you?
Yeah, actually. So every week they put out a new beer for like following the Bills season, and each week it gets more and more bitter, just as the Bills fans' feelings towards their performance of the season.
That's great. It has been.
Well, this year, you never know.
Well,
you never know.
I don't know. It's a long shot at this point. Tristan, what in the hell did you do that for?
I'm still asking myself that question to this day, to be honest with you. It wasn't played out. I was probably an 11 out of 10 on the inebriation scale.
Oh, got it.
I was sleep deprived and grieving from a recent family loss, and I just hit him. There was just a moment in the game where I was just like,
"Screw it,
I'm doing it.
I'm taking my clothes off." I've had that same feeling. I'm taking my clothes off, and I'm going to run out onto the field.
So were the clothes off before you ran, or were they coming off as you were running?
Well, I had a lot of layers on, so it was probably about 5 to 10 minutes from when I said I was going to do it to me actually doing it, because I took layers off. I peeled off down to nothing but shorts and a T-shirt, and then that's when I basically flung the shorts and T-shirt off as I was running.
Okay, so you were all in.
Yeah,
on being all off.
On being all off. Attorney Julie Rogers, good morning. How much trouble is he in? And clearly you have to be here in case he says the wrong thing. I mean, why are you here, to protect him?
Good morning. Actually, he's not. Well, he was facing some, significant trouble, if you will, when the arrest first happened. There were pretty serious charges that were against him. But the case has been disposed of. We finished up in the town of Orchard Park Court last week. He ended up pleading guilty to a violation, so he's got no criminal record as a result of this. And his sentence was what's called a conditional discharge. So in other words, for 1 year, he needs to remain arrest-free.
Okay.
I.e. not do anything that would cause him to be arrested or engage in any kind of behavior that would be suspect, which I don't have any concerns that he'll do, quite honestly. There's 25 hours community service that he was sentenced to, and then he's got a 1 year ban from New Era Field to stay away from.
That's pretty generous for we'll have him back, but not.
Not it's funny because we talk about today's day and age and what's going on in the news and everything, and you could argue he got off real easy here because he was exposed. There's children in the stadium.
Well,
this could have been. I hope you learn your lesson because that is a funny thing, and the crowd went nuts. But you could have been in so much more trouble.
Yeah. Listen, Tristan, I'm going to say this to you. Far better stunt than the stunt that normally happens out in that area, and that is people, I'm going to jump off the falls. Watch me get to the bottom. I'm going to survive. No, you don't survive.
Nope.
I'm not sure how you survive this one, but it's a far better chance of surviving this than jumping over Niagara Falls. So, right? Better stunt.
Yeah, I'll say.
Yeah. Well, are you going to stay away from getting to the level of an 11 out of 10 when the alcohol level kicks in? That's the key, right?
This event was really unique to who I am and how I perform as a human. I was worn down. Right. Once again, grieving from a family loss. I buried my grandpa, who was a father figure of mine. He taught me how to fish and play baseball, on the Friday before that game. And, I had family in from out of town, so I guess it was basically a bender. I was drinking and staying up late, and it was just a lot of days in a row. And then that Bills game was just the cherry on top of the sundae for me, I suppose.
I think most fans could say these games for this year and years prior. How long's the drought, by the way, for we Bills fans?
This is season 18.
18. I would think that this franchise has made a lot of people think about doing stupid stuff. You're not alone. It's been a rough run as a Bills fan, but
absolutely. And there's just all the other stories of just wild lewd acts that occur, outside, with tailgating, like sexual conduct that occurs out in public, and even just the people who got a little too drunk and freaking run people over on the way home, So I think all things considered, I know that what I did wasn't right, and I do, like, in hindsight of all, like, wish that I could take back, anyone who was this moment to anyone who was offended.
Yeah.
But I do, at the same hand, I know that it was, not the worst behavior that we've seen at Bills.
Yeah. Tristan, believe me, like I've seen some people do some terrible things at Bills games in front of kids. And then getting fights and all this other stuff. I mean, you weren't violent anyway. Tristan Lambright is the guy that did some streaking during the Bills game a couple weeks ago.
And he's selling shirts. Just search "Run Tristan Run" for charity.
Run Tristan Run.
Yeah.
You got to say it that way.
Yeah. Run Tristan Run.
Yeah. And
put some pants on, Tristan. Put some pants on.
So I want to ask one final question, Tristan. Okay. How old are you, by the way?
I'm 29.
Okay. So 29. Good for you. Good for you. Okay, so one more question. It is, so Sunday is the Bills game. You get arrested. Do you spend the night in jail?
Yeah.
Okay. My question for you is, when you woke up Monday morning and realized what you had done, how'd that feel?
Oh, well, I mean, really, from the moment that I was apprehended and while in custody, I was already worried, but I was a little, too drunk to be fully aware. So yeah, the next day, I woke up and was just like, "Oh my God, what the hell have I done?" I had like that moment in my head where it's just like, I'm in so much trouble, and I was just worried, to bits, about all the serious charges that were put on me, and I didn't realize how viral I had become because I was in a holding center. You don't necessarily have internet access.
Yeah, they don't.
Even jail doesn't have a Wi-Fi.
If you look really carefully into the steel toilet, I believe a screen pops up. I could be wrong. All right, Tristan. Run, Tristan, run. Search those T-shirts. It goes to a good cause, and thanks for coming on. And Julie Rogers, thank you as well.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks so much. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.